Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning English with Podcast Conversation. I'm your host, Tony, and I'm super excited to be here with my amazing co-host today. How are you doing, Jenny?
Hi, Tony. I'm doing great, thanks. And hello to all our wonderful listeners out there. I'm Jenny, and I'm also very excited about today's topic. It's something I think many people, including myself sometimes, struggle with.
Absolutely. Today's topic is a big one, but we're going to make it easy to understand and hopefully very helpful. We're talking about eliminate all negative thoughts instantly. Wow, Jenny, that sounds like a superpower, doesn't it? Like poof, and they're gone.
It really does, Tony. If only it were that simple, right? Like a magic wand. But the idea of instantly can feel a bit, maybe too good to be true for some people. It's a big promise. But I think we can definitely talk about instant ways to deal with them or challenge them, even if they don't disappear forever.
That's a great point, Jenny. You're right. Eliminate might be too strong a word, especially for instantly. Maybe it's more about managing or interrupting or shifting them quickly. So our first core idea for today is it really possible to eliminate all negative thoughts instantly, or is it more about learning to manage them?
I think it's definitely more about managing them. Our brains are always thinking, and it's natural for some of those thoughts to be negative sometimes. For example, if you make a mistake at work, you may instantly think, oh no, I'm terrible at this, or my boss will be angry. It's a very human reaction.
Exactly. It's like your brain is trying to protect you or analyze a situation, but sometimes it goes a bit too far into the negative zone. So instead of trying to hit an off button for all thoughts, which is impossible, we're aiming for a pause or change direction button. We can't stop the thoughts from coming, but we can change how we react to them. That's the real instant power, I think.
Yes, I completely agree. So rather than saying I must never have a negative thought again, which is unrealistic and can make you feel worse, we're talking about when a negative thought comes, what can I do right now? That sounds much more helpful and achievable, doesn't it?
It does. And that brings us to our second point. How do we even know when a thought is negative? What does it feel like, or what are some common examples of negative thoughts we might have?
Good question. For me, a negative thought often feels heavy. It might make my shoulders tense up, or give me a little knot in my stomach. Examples could be, I'm not good enough, this is too hard, no one cares, or even, I'm going to fail this test. They're often critical, judgmental, or make you feel hopeless.
Yes, I know that feeling. It's like a little dark cloud appears over your head. For me, a common negative thought is, I'm going to forget everything I need to say during this podcast, right before we start recording. Or if I send an email and don't get a reply quickly, I might think, oh, they're probably mad at me, even if it's just because they're busy.
Oh, I do that too. The they're mad at me thought, even if there's no evidence. It's important to notice these thoughts, not to judge ourselves for having them, but just to say, there's a negative thought. That awareness is the first step, right?
Exactly. Awareness is key. Once you recognize it, then you can decide what to do. And that leads us to our third main point. What are some simple, quick techniques we can use instantly to interrupt these negative thought patterns? Because sometimes you just need a quick zap to break the cycle.
Okay, so for instant techniques, one of my favorites is simply to breathe. When a negative thought hits, we often hold our breath or breathe very shallowly. If you just take 3 deep breaths, in through your nose, hold for a moment, and out through your mouth, it can really help to calm your body and mind.
That's so true, Jenny. I notice when I'm stressed, my breathing changes completely. Another quick one for me is a physical change. If I'm sitting and worrying, I'll stand up, walk to the window, maybe stretch. Just changing my physical position can sometimes shift my mental position too. It's like pressing a reset button on my body, which helps my mind.
Oh, that's a good one. Or even splashing cold water on your face. It's a bit of a shock, but it really wakes you up and breaks the cycle of overthinking. Another technique I've heard of is the 5-4-3-2-1 exercise. You quickly name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. It grounds you in the present moment.
Wow, that's brilliant. It pulls you out of your head and into your surroundings. I'm going to try that next time I feel stuck. For example, if I'm thinking, this task is impossible, I can pause, look around, maybe I see my coffee cup, hear the birds outside, feel the chair, smell my hand cream, taste my morning tea. It's very simple, but effective.
Exactly. It forces your brain to focus on something else, something real and present, instead of the looping negative thought. It's not about making the thought disappear forever, but about creating that instant pause, and that pause is powerful.
Yes, that pause is like a doorway to our fourth main point, reframing or challenging the thought. Once you've paused, you have a moment to actually look at the thought. So, how do we challenge a negative thought?
This is where it gets interesting. After you've taken that breath or looked around, you can ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? Or, what evidence do I have for this thought? For example, if I think, I'm terrible at English, I can ask myself, is that really true? Have I learned anything? Can I understand this podcast right now? And often, the answer is, no, it's not 100% true. I have learned a lot.
That's such a good point, Jenny. Most negative thoughts are not facts. They're just opinions or fears. My example of, they're mad at me because they didn't reply to my email quickly. If I challenge that, I can think, what's another possible reason? Maybe they're busy. Maybe they're on holiday. Maybe they didn't see it yet. It instantly makes the thought less powerful.
Totally. It's about finding an alternative perspective. It's like you're a detective looking for other clues. You're not trying to force yourself to be happy, but just to be realistic. Another way to reframe is to ask, what would I tell a friend if they had this thought? We're often much kinder to our friends than we are to ourselves.
Oh, that's so true. If my friend said, I'm terrible at English, I'd say, no way. You've learned so much. Remember how you couldn't understand anything 6 months ago, and now you're listening to a podcast in English? We need to give ourselves that same encouragement. This also leads perfectly into our final point, the role of self-compassion and acceptance. How important is it to be kind to ourselves when these thoughts come?
It's incredibly important, Tony. Crucial, even. Sometimes, when we have a negative thought, we get angry at ourselves for having it. Like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this way. But that just adds another layer of negativity. Self-compassion means accepting that it's okay to have these thoughts sometimes. We're human, not robots.
Yes, I agree. It's like, if you have a cut on your finger, you don't say, why is this cut here? I'm so angry at this cut. You just accept it's there and put a bandage on it. With thoughts, it's similar. Acknowledge it, but don't fight it or judge yourself for it. It's just a thought, and it will pass.
Exactly. And accepting it doesn't mean you agree with a negative thought. It just means you acknowledge its presence without letting it control you. Like, okay, brain, you're offering me this thought. Thank you for sharing. Now I'm going to choose to do something else with it. It gives you power back.
That's a very empowering way to look at it, Jenny. It's like saying, I hear you, but I don't have to believe you. And it makes the whole process less stressful. So it's not about being perfect and never having a negative thought. It's about being kind to yourself and learning to respond to them in a healthier way.
Right. And it's a practice, not a one-time fix. Some days you'll be great at it, other days it'll be harder. But every time you try, you're building a stronger thought muscle, if you will.
A thought muscle. I like that. So to wrap up, let's give our listeners some key takeaways, some actionable tips they can remember and use instantly.
Okay, my first key takeaway is acknowledge, don't fight. When a negative thought appears, just notice it. Don't get angry at yourself for having it. Just say, oh, there's that thought again. This stops the battle inside your head.
Excellent. My second takeaway is use a quick interrupt technique. Whether it's deep breathing, the 5-4-3-2-1 method, or simply standing up and stretching, find something simple you can do instantly to break the thought cycle. This gives you a moment of clarity.
And my third is challenge and reframe. Once you've paused, gently ask yourself, is this thought 100% true? Or what's another way to look at this situation? Try to find the evidence, or a kinder, more realistic perspective. It makes a huge difference.
Fantastic. Those are 3 powerful and practical tips. It's not about magically eliminating thoughts, but about gaining control over how they affect you. Remember, small steps every day lead to big changes over time.
Exactly. And remember, this is a journey. Be patient and kind to yourself. You're learning a new skill, and that takes time and practice. But every time you try, you're making progress.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for such a wonderful and insightful conversation. It's been really helpful. And thank you, our dear listeners, for joining us today on Learning English with Podcast Conversation.
Yes, thank you all for listening. We hope these tips help you feel more in control of your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our channel, Learning English with Podcast Conversation, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
We really do. And share this episode with anyone you think might benefit from these simple ideas. Until next time, keep practicing your English and keep challenging those negative thoughts with kindness and curiosity. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.